Hey everyone, welcome back to the Energy Fix podcast. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different. Normally, now that the podcast is also over on YouTube, I'd be sitting here on camera. But if you watch the episode over on your YouTube rather than just listening to it on the actual podcast, well, you're going to notice that today there is no visual. I wanted to record this as an audio conversation because I didn't want to spend my energy making myself presentable. And I really just wanted to be very present. I wanted to be here in my full energy and just allow myself to truly expand into today's message. Because honestly, this feels like the perfect place to start today's conversation. That whole concept, I mean. This past weekend, I spent 2 days at a holistic expo, and I had the opportunity to meet so many incredible people. I mean, I always meet incredible people at the expos, but I really noticed this past one the amount of incredibly new, thriving conversations, but then also catching up with people I haven't seen in forever, and also catching up with people that have literally been part of other worlds of mine. It was just so, I was so grateful. It was such a beautiful weekend. So, like I said, I had the opportunity to meet so many incredible people, to share my crystal jewelry and healing work, to answer questions, to have beautiful conversations, to connect with people who were genuinely looking for support and meaning and encouragement. But the moment that really stayed with me didn't happen after the event was over. It actually happened while I was driving in on Sunday morning. I wasn't exhausted yet. I wasn't packing up. I wasn't reflecting from the other side of it. I was on my way there, and I had one of those downloads, one of those aha moments that lands in your heart before your brain really has time to organize it and to question it. And I knew exactly what it was because I immediately got teary eyed. All of a sudden, I felt this deep reminder about the work, about this work, this life, really. It isn't just about making sales. It is not about having the perfect booth or the perfect words or the perfect energy or the perfect outfit or the perfect anything, really. It's about spreading the light. It's about spreading the love. It's about lifting people up who need to be lifted. And it isn't about all of the positive all of the positive spiritual bypassing. We're not talking about that kind of spreading of love and light. We're talking about the kind that is genuine in just that you are there holding space and you're allowing yourself to feel and heal into whatever that person brings. Because sometimes just being that container is really you also spreading that love and light, right? And helping to lift the people up that need to be lifted. It's about the person who walks up to my table, to your desk or my desk or your counter, your social media post, your email, your conversation, your life, and maybe they don't even fully know what they need. Maybe they're tired. Maybe they're grieving. Maybe they're feeling overwhelmed. Maybe they're coming to you while they're still quietly questioning themselves. Maybe they just need someone to look at them with kindness and to remind them that they truly matter. I think we forget how powerful that is. We can get so easily caught up in the outcome. When I do some of these expos, I can see it around me at times. And I know that it's easy to get caught up in this in our own lives, but like, did I make enough sales? Did I say it the right way? Did I look pulled together? Did I post enough? Did I make a good impression? Did I do this the right way? And that can translate into any way, really, in life, however that translates for you as an individual. But I want you to remember that we can get so caught up in that outcome. But maybe, just maybe, the deeper purpose is so much simpler than that. Maybe we're here to leave people a little better than we found them. Maybe we're here to spread hope and encouragement, to help somebody feel a little bit more loved, a little more connected to their own light, more connected to their own power to spread light, to be the flame that lights somebody else's candle. That was the aha for me, and it stayed with me all day. But here's where this conversation gets really interesting because even when we have those beautiful moments of clarity, it's easy to still slip right back into trying to manage how we're actually being received. And I personally, I noticed that too. Even when, even with, I mean, that download in my heart, there were still moments when I could feel myself wondering, am I explaining this well enough? Do they understand what I actually mean? Do I sound weird? Do I sound a little out there? Am I saying too much? Am I not saying enough? Am I doing this the right way? Oh, so much self doubt can really come into it. And that's where I started thinking about the concept of masking. Sometimes masking isn't this big, obvious thing where we're pretending to be someone completely different. Sometimes it's just so much more subtle. And I think that that's the part about masking and performing that can be truly eluding to some people. It can fall between the cracks. Sometimes masking is constantly adjusting yourself to fit in the room so that you look a little bit more polished or a little less emotional or a little more upbeat or a little less upbeat, depending on the room, right? Maybe you're feeling like you have to be less honest and not say what you truly want to say, or maybe be a little bit less agreeable or more agreeable, depending on what the room has to say. I mean, my gosh, it can get so complicated. And before we know it, we're using so much energy to try to be acceptable that we're not fully available for the actual connection that's right in front of us. We're not fully invested and right there. Now, masking is a word that gets talked about a lot, especially in the neurodivergent community. I've seen that so much. And as someone who has walked that journey myself, it's something I've been become so much more aware of because I also think that almost all of us truly mask in some way. It's part of just being less vulnerable and fitting into society, right? Sometimes masking can look like we're pretending that we're okay when actually we're not. Sometimes it can look like smiling when we're completely depleted. Sometimes it can look like saying yes because you don't want to actually disappoint somebody. Or maybe you're standing there and it looks like making yourself smaller would actually be so much better because you're not going to be taking up as much space in the room because secretly you think you're not worthy to take up that space. Yeah. Sometimes it can look like making yourself bigger or louder or more impressive because you're afraid that the real you won't be enough. Then there's those words of being the peacemaker, the peacekeeper, the helper, the one who makes everything easier for everyone else, the one who doesn't need anything, the one who can handle it all, the one who just keeps on going, the one who keeps hustling. All of those things that I've just said can be forms of masking or performing when in reality, it's not actually who you are or how you're feeling that you need to be or that you should be. I don't even like to use that word, but we're going to use that here. You should be to keep yourself at your healthiest and most balanced. The tricky part is that masking can look like being a really good person. It can look like being thoughtful. It can look like being kind or responsible, dependable, easy to be around, agreeable, and low maintenance. And listen, those qualities are so darn beautiful. I love all of that, but not when they come at the expense of your authenticity. There's a difference between the performing and masking of that versus the authentic self of how you really feel in your heart when you can be there. Not when they leave you disconnected from your own needs, and not when they have you constantly editing yourself before you even let the real words come out that you need to speak. I don't think most of us do this because we're trying to fool anyone. I don't think that that is true. I think a lot of times it's very subconscious. It's a response, right? I think we do it also because somewhere along the way, we learned that simply being ourselves might not be enough. So we spend so much energy trying to become the version of ourselves that we think other people are going to accept. And you know what? That is so exhausting. It's so exhausting, not because connecting with people is exhausting, but because constantly editing ourselves is absolutely exhausting. Your nervous system is constantly responding. You are on, your brain is always tuning in and looking around and scanning the room. That realization actually led me to another question. What if I've been measuring the wrong thing? What if the goal isn't to walk into every room wondering if people like me? What if the goal isn't to make sure I sound smart enough, experienced enough, successful enough, spiritual enough, interesting enough? What if my job is so much simpler than that? What if my job is to be present enough to genuinely connect with the person in front of me? Because those are two completely different ways of moving through life. One keeps my attention on me, and the other one, it lets my attention rest on the person in front of me. One has me asking myself, how am I coming across? And the other has me asking, how can I fully be here and fully be present? One of those has me wondering if I'm making a good impression. The other has me wondering if someone else has felt seen. You see the difference here? Oh, and I don't know about you. I don't know about you, but that feels so much lighter when you look at the perspective just slightly different. It's still the same topic and the same conversation. It's just putting a different perspective onto the situation and looking at it from a different lens. I think so many of us are walking around trying to prove something that was never actually up for debate. We're trying to prove that we're lovable and that we're valuable and that we're good enough or smart enough, capable enough, attractive enough, successful enough, spiritual enough, healed enough, together enough. There's so many things that we could put here into the spin of it. But what if we don't have to enter every single space like we are standing on trial? What if we could enter a conversation, a room, a relationship, a meeting, a family gathering, or even a social media post with the understanding that our worth has come along with us? We don't have to earn that worth. We bring our worth into the room with us. And when we remember that, we don't have to use so much energy trying to manage every little thing about ourselves. We can relax enough to actually be with people, to listen better and to love better and to respond instead of so quickly reacting to a situation that maybe we're actually just being triggered because we are already in that place of scanning and being on guard. And I think that this is where our light truly comes through. We're not trying to be polished or perfectly branded. We're really coming in with the real light, the one that comes through when you're being honest and you're being present. The light that comes through when we stop trying to be impressive and simply let ourselves be completely human. The most amazing human being that we were born to be, that you are born to be. You have been created the way that you were created because there are specific skills and parts of your personality that only you have in that special combination that you have. And how amazing is that you get the opportunity to be able to fully shine that light that nobody else actually has to be able to shine? Because the person standing right next to you has a different combination of light that they're shining out and can inspire other people to be in that exact way that they are able to impress upon, right? Mm. As someone who works with energy every day, I often remind people that we absorb the energy of the people around us. We feel the things and we notice the things, and we may not always have language for it, but we know when someone's energy feels safe. And we know when someone is truly listening to us. We also know when someone is being distracted and when someone is judging us, even if they never actually say the words. I mean, I know I've experienced this, and I am sure that you have as well. We all experience this. Each and every one of us have walked away from conversations feeling energized and hopeful and inspired and so much lighter than when we arrived. We've also walked away from conversations feeling judged and unseen and rushed and small and completely drained. People may not remember every word that you say, but they almost always remember how you made them feel. That doesn't mean that we have to be perfect. Let's just clear that up. I want to put that right on the table. You do not need to be perfect. It doesn't mean that you have to be responsible for fixing everyone. It doesn't mean that you have to become emotionally dumping grounds for people who don't know boundaries. Please don't turn this into that. What I mean by this is that every interaction is an energetic exchange. Every single one. Whether it's the cashier at the grocery store, your spouse, your child, your coworker, somebody who comments on your social media, a client or a stranger, or the person standing in front of your booth at an expo. Every interaction is an opportunity to leave someone feeling a little bit more lighter than when you have found them. And I think that that is just so beautiful. Because maybe that's what spreading your light actually looks like. It's not about having the answers or being the brightest person in the room. It's not about making everything perfect or proving anything about yourself. It is none of that. It's none of that. It's remembering that you are the light too. And the person you're interacting with may need a little bit of your light. Or maybe they are there to help spread their light to you. That interaction is such a beautiful exchange. It can be a beautiful exchange. Here's the part I don't want to skip over. I really want to emphasize this right here because sometimes we are so busy trying to lift everyone else up that we forget we're allowed to be lifted too. Yeah, you are allowed to be lifted too. And that goes with what I just said, that we are energy exchanging with each other all the time. Maybe that person that you're interacting with is there meant to help lift you up. Because sometimes we are so busy encouraging everyone else that we don't actually let encouragement in. Sometimes we are so busy reminding other people that they matter that we quietly forget we matter just as much too. So, this isn't about abandoning yourself in the name of being kind. And this is definitely not about being nice at your own expense. I don't want you to stand there and think you need to smile through depletion or pretending that you're okay when you're actually not okay. This is really a conversation, a time, a place about coming back to your own center so you can share from a real, authentic place. You can share from that deep light and love that is sitting right in the center of your soul. When we are constantly masking, editing, proving, overthinking, we're not really sharing our light. We're managing it and we're trying to control it and we're trying to make sure that it is acceptable for everyone else because deep down, we just may not trust. We may not trust that we are able to share that light or that we even have that to share. That's a very different energy. Very different. When we are present, when you are present, you don't have to push so hard. You don't have to make yourself more or less than you are. You can simply show up, tell the truth, offer what you have, and trust that the right people will feel it. And I'm not talking just about an expo or being at work when I say just simply show up and offer what you have. That could be a hug. It could be a smile to a stranger standing in line. It could be just just something so incredibly simple. I had a woman at the show tell me that the thing that warmed her heart the most over the course like that last week was that she went to a local coffee shop in the drive-through and she drove through and placed her order. And when the order came out, they said, "Don't worry, the person in front of you already paid for you." It was like the whole pay it forward kind of concept, right? And the woman said to me, "That made my day. That person didn't even know who I was. There's so much kindness in the world that," she said, "there's so much kindness in the world. I feel like sometimes it's hard to remember that until something like that happens." She said, "I was on a high the rest of the day." You never know. You never know. Yeah. Now, all of this, it doesn't mean that everybody's going to truly understand you. All right. All of this doesn't mean that everyone is going to like you. And it doesn't mean everyone will receive what you have to offer. Honestly, that's okay. Because your job is not to be everything to everyone. Your job is to be true to the light that you came here to share. That authentic, beautiful combination of skills and personality and uniqueness and quirks, that is your light. That is your job. And I think that that's the part I needed to remember this week. And maybe you need that reminder too. So I'd love to leave you with just a few questions that I've been sitting with. Where in your life are you spending more energy editing yourself than simply being yourself? Where are you trying so hard to be accepted that you've stopped being fully present in the moment? Where are you asking, "Am I enough? Am I worthy? Am I okay?" When maybe the better question is, "How can I show up with love right now, right in this moment?" What would change if you walked into your next conversation believing you didn't have anything to prove? And when people leave an interaction with you, what do they actually carry with them? I mean, are they feeling encouraged? Are they feeling more calm, more seen? Are they feeling like they matter or that they're more connected to themselves? Or, and this is the harder question that I've been asking myself, are there moments when I unintentionally dim someone else's light because I'm distracted, stressed, overwhelmed, or guarded? Or maybe I'm just caught up in my own drama or my own thoughts to actually see the person in front of me. I know that I can be guilty of that too. I think all of us can be. That is part of being human. And this is no place or shape or form of placing guilt on you. That's not what we're doing here. I just want to bring awareness. I ask this because awareness gives us choice. We all have those moments. We all get busy. We all get tired. We all get caught up in our own stuff. And we all surely have times when we're not present, patient, or kind. But the beautiful thing is that we can choose differently and we can keep choosing again and again and again. We can come back and soften and listen and repair. And we can decide that the next interaction gets a little more of our presence than the last one did. And maybe we'll never know whose life we've actually touched. Maybe we'll never know which conversation changed someone's day, gave them hope, or maybe helped them feel a little bit less alone. We don't need to know that. We don't need to know. It's enough to trust that every act of kindness, every genuine conversation, every moment of presence, every smile, and every word of encouragement, every time you choose love over judgment, every time it becomes part of a ripple that we may never fully see. And remember, that ripple, it ripples out not just to the person that you're interacting with, but it ripples out over and over and over again. And the more that we can do that, we start to change the energy around ourselves, around our families, around our community, and truly around the world. Because when you start to ripple that out, that energy then ripples to somebody else who gets inspired or who feels that kindness, and that starts to ripple out from them, and they start to influence more people. Do you see what I'm saying here? It becomes this big, beautiful ripple effect, which can literally change the energy of the world. And I know that sounds big and grandiose, but that is how this energy works. Yeah. Mm. Maybe that's what we're really here for. Maybe that is exactly what we're here for. Not just to make sales, not to just get everything right, not just to be impressive or to be accepted, but to actually spread light and to spread love and to lift up the people who need to be lifted and to let ourselves be lifted too. Mm. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. If this conversation resonated with you, I would genuinely love to hear from you. Send me a message, reply to one of my emails, or just reach out on any of the platforms that you can find the Energy Fix or find BEU Complete or BEU Crystals. I am always here and I am listening. And until next time, keep spreading that beautiful energy you were born to share.